This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I got tagged actually on Instagram by a good friend of mine. He shared a quote that I mentioned in an earlier podcast. Now, the quote, I don't know who to credit. I didn't come up with the quote per se. Maybe that's my paraphrase of it, but it goes, the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. It's something that I've muttered a few times throughout my podcasts. Like I said, I don't know where it came from, but either way, it got me thinking about what exactly does that mean? What can we pull apart from that? And why is the case the fact that the opposite of courage makes sense that it's cowardice? It's the same as love and hate, right? But what we've got to look at there is that both love and hate are emotions. So if I love you or I hate you, you still own a part of me. And so courage and cowardice is the same thing. And so when we look at the opposite of courage is conformity, it actually, there's a lot to pull apart from that. There's a lot to see within that for all of us. And it really does, a big part of that is like underpinning exactly what all these podcasts are about and what I offer you to go away and work on, because the work doesn't happen in these podcasts, the work happens afterwards, right? But here's the thing, here's another way to say the exact same thing. It's like, don't try and be the next something. Don't try and be the next, Major League Baseball player or, insert name here, football player, or insert name here, singer, or don't try and be the next Uber or whoever. Don't try and be that. Work on being the first you and the best version of that. And being the best version of you is actually getting shit out of the way rather than trying to, add things to your repertoire. That's all well and good, but our potential often is held back because of the bullshit that we hold on to, not because of the stuff we haven't learnt yet. And that's something, worth looking at. But the biggest thing there is really, truly just allowing yourself to give yourself permission for self-expression is probably the sentence there that means the most in that sort of frame. It's looking at it and going, do I allow myself to say what I think? And then if something pops up such as, oh, but then I won't be liked or this or that, it's like, well, there's your fucking frame. There's your bullshit that's holding you back, is that you're putting somebody else's opinion in front of your truth. And how's that working for you? It's like, it fucking sucks. It's like, yeah, but it's really hard. It's like, yeah, everything's fucking hard. You have to choose your hard. Are you willing to live with a heart of always, playing small and tiptoeing around everyone so you don't upset people but never really speak and live your truth? Is that hard that you're choosing? Or is it the hard of just allowing yourself to be honest to yourself and to other people and honestly come forward in the moment and let everyone else figure out their own fucking shit? If someone doesn't like that, that's on them. It's not on you. Right? Imagine that. Imagine I let myself be myself and people didn't like it. It's like, well, that sucks for them. They lost a genuine person. I had this conversation today and somebody said that they weren't normal, right? And it's like, our perception of normal is heavily filtered by our experience of the world, and the way we experience the reality in the world is heavily filtered by our own programs and filters. So it's like, what's fucking normal? And you see two people interacting. If you can really step back and you can really look at it, those two people, those two souls aren't interacting, right? It's their personality structures that are talking to each other, right? And that's the thing. That's the fucking thing about it, is that we can really get in our own way and our own potential. I use that word a lot because I think when we're born, that's all we are. All we are is literally unlived potential. And then all this bullshit, all these frames, all these programs end up getting in the way because we teach ourselves that we need these things in order to be safe, in order to be loved, etc., etc. Often, like I've explained before, passed on from our parents or from caregivers or whatever. They can only teach us, and this is a hard thing I had to learn. They can only teach us what they know. And if they didn't go out and do some soul searching, if they didn't go out and really move forward to hard conversations and look at their own shortcomings, then there's a good chance that the chip on the shoulder they had maybe is your chip on your shoulder as well. And so it probably wasn't your fault that you adapted to doing that. However, it's now your responsibility as an adult to do something about it. Or don't. Like, they're the options. Do something about it or don't. And if you complain about it but don't want to do something about it, just recognize that. Like, it's really, it's really common to be able to go, here's my issue. It's like, right, do you want to fix it? Why, no is the answer, because it's still serving something. So it's like, until you recognize what it's serving and see the bullshit within that, then it's just going to keep running. And, maybe it's time to be okay with that. It goes into this concept, this idea of, like, don't believe everything that you think. Because it's not you that thinks it. I mean, that's a conversation I've peppered through all of my podcasts, but it's not you go, I think. It's like, sure, you had this thought arise in your mind, but it's like, tell me the next thing you're going to think. It's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you don't fucking know. You don't know what the next thing you're going to think is, because it could be heavily influenced by what you see next, by what you hear next, right? By the people that you've handed your power over to. And it depends on how they feel that day and how they interact with you, and that's going to depend on what you think next. You see, when we identify as our thoughts, we become reactive, reacting to the world around us, always trying to make sure that we're safe or loved, or maybe those two things go hand in hand, or we're looking for approval. But that all presupposes that we don't have it as we are today, and that's actually a lie. You were born with it. You were born with nothing else but that. And until we can actually see that genuinely and honestly, then, we're going to be choosing one side of the coin. That's hard. They're both hard, like I mentioned, but you get to choose. And just understand that is a choice. So yeah, I guess it comes down to understanding, don't believe everything you think, or anything really, but let's stick with everything for now. Because the interesting thing around all of this is that what you're seeking, you already have. So you're not seeking this thing that you're after. Even if it's money or a job or whatever, it's like, what do you think that thing will give you? What's driving the goal? What's driving the drive? Right? It's like, well, I want to make sure I can build a house for a family. It's like, right. So that's what you... Don't focus on the money. Focus on that. Focus on the thing. Money doesn't have any emotion to it, right? Money is meaningless. We give it meaning. We give money meaning, which means we can choose anything, right? Money is meaningless. Now take the word money and replace it with just about fucking anything else. Alcohol, the gym, diet, home, right? Tax, doesn't matter. And we are the ones that give meaning to it. And one of the biggest things here is seeing the bullshit that we decide is true around these things that end up haunting us 10 years later, right? And then we're trying to learn all these new things to get over this thing. It's like, it's learning how to let go of it. Once we learn how to let go of it, we're free of it. We don't need to fix it anymore. Because at one stage it was never broken. Now it just no longer works for you. It's no longer resourceful. It actually still works. It works perfectly fine the way you wired yourself. But the thing is here is that in order to let yourself be, in order to move away from conformity, in order to be courageous, we have to be in a space where we don't even need to be courageous. We just are us. And to do that, we have to get out of our own way. Let go of the bullshit and trust yourself. It already knows what to do. It already knows what it wants in life. It already knows how to contribute. It already knows how to love. It is already everything it needs to be. It's the frames in the way that's holding you back. And on that note, I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, if you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else or on social media that you think would also find it beneficial. I hope this sort of cleared up a bit of an idea around the courage and conformity thing. And Nath, thanks for sharing it. I'm looking forward to catching up again. If you're in Melbourne, make sure you get down and check out his gym in Port Melbourne, which is Momentum. Momentum PT. So check it out for sure. Otherwise, guys, I'm done. As always, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.